Don't embarrass me, my sister hissed into the phone, her tone laced with that polished condescension I had been fluent in since childhood. Derek works for Nexer AI. They're worth billions. His colleagues are coming to dinner tonight, and I need you to just blend in. Can you manage that for once? I sat at the window of my apartment, staring out at the San Francisco skyline as late afternoon light bounced off glass towers. The coffee in my hand had gone cold, untouched. Sure, Amanda, I can blend in. Good, and please, for the love of God, don't bring up your startup project. No one wants to hear about another failed tech experiment. Derek's colleagues are actual professionals. I let the silence stretch on my end. What response could possibly fit inside that script? Amanda had been my older sister for 32 years, and in all that time she had never once asked me what I actually did. She'd written my biography when I was 23, coding in a rented garage, and she'd never revised it. No update, no errata, no curiosity. Maya, are you even listening? I'm listening. 7 o'clock at Prospect, I'll be there. And wear something appropriate, not those jeans. Derek's VP of product development, his boss might show up. These are serious people. The call disconnected. I looked at the dark screen of my phone, then at my laptop, where 3 acquisition proposals waited in my inbox, each valuing us north of $800 million. Goldman Sachs had been calling daily about our IPO timing. Tomorrow's board agenda included a vote on European expansion that would push our valuation past $2 billion. But to Amanda, I was still the aimless younger sister tinkering with code in a garage. I arrived at Prospect 5 minutes early, on purpose. The restaurant was a curated blend of understated luxury and tech affluence, the kind of place where venture capitalists closed deals over Wagyu and rare Bordeaux. I'd hosted investor dinners here more times than I could count. Tonight, I was attending as Amanda's liability. She saw me immediately. Her eyes performed their usual assessment, scanning my outfit, pausing for microscopic critique, followed by a nearly imperceptible sigh. I wore tailored black slacks and a silk blouse, apparently still insufficient. "You made it," she said, brushing the air near my cheek. "Derek's running late. Big meeting, you understand." "Of course." We sat at a table set for 6. Amanda adjusted her napkin twice, checked her reflection in her phone, reapplied lipstick. She thrived on proximity to status, curated her world around it. "So," she began, avoiding direct eye contact, "how's the job hunt?" "I'm not job hunting." "Right, your startup. How's that little thing going? Still just you and a few guys coding somewhere?" I took a measured sip of water. "Something like that. You know, Derek says Nexer is always hiring. Maybe you could get into marketing. Entry level, but at least it's stable. That's thoughtful of you." She leaned closer. "I'm serious, Maya. You're 30. You can't keep pretending to be an entrepreneur. Mom and Dad are worried." Derek arrived then, flanked by 3 colleagues. He fit the mold perfectly. Expensive suit, confident handshake that lingered just slightly too long, a practiced ease in his posture. His colleagues mirrored him, articulate, polished, comfortable discussing valuations and quarterly forecasts. "Everyone," Amanda beamed, "this is my sister Maya." "Nice to meet you," I said evenly. "She's between things right now," Amanda added quickly, and I watched her construct the narrative she preferred. "I keep telling her Nexer's always hiring." Polite smiles followed. Derek launched into a monologue about their newest AI deployment, how they'd secured multiple Fortune 500 contracts, how revenue projections were approaching $1 billion annually. "We're reshaping enterprise AI," he said, repeating phrases that sounded rehearsed. "Our CEO is visionary. We're going public next year. Ground floor of something enormous." "That's impressive," I replied. Throughout dinner, I listened more than I spoke. They dissected competitive threats, consolidation trends, why smaller startups couldn't survive. "These little companies think they can compete," one colleague laughed. "It's adorable. They don't understand enterprise scale." Amanda glanced at me with subtle embarrassment, assuming I belonged to that category. I nodded thoughtfully, asking measured questions, playing the harmless observer. During dessert, Derek's phone vibrated. He checked the screen and straightened. "That's the CEO. Board meeting moved to Monday, 9 sharp. All executives required." "On a Monday?" someone muttered. She doesn't call meetings lightly, Derek said. It's serious. He squeezed Amanda's hand. I'll need to prep Sunday. Of course, she answered instantly. Whatever you need. When dinner ended, Amanda walked me toward the valet. Thank you for coming, and for not making it awkward. Derek's colleagues are important. His career is accelerating. She paused. I know you don't really understand this world, but optics matter. The company you keep matters. The impression you give matters. I studied her face, 2 years older, yet somehow living in an entirely different era. I'm glad you're happy, Amanda. He seems ambitious. He is. VP now. His boss adores him. Could be C-suite in a couple years. That's the kind of path you should consider, not this startup gamble. The valet brought my Tesla Model S, 3 years old, purchased outright. Amanda never commented on it. I suspect she'd constructed a theory to rationalize it. See you at Mom and Dad's next week? I'll be there. I drove home along streets layered with memory, past buildings where I'd pitched investors, past cafes where product ideas had first taken shape on napkins, past the small garage where Nexer AI had been born 7 years ago. 7 years since I'd left Google to co-found Nexer with 2 MIT classmates. Yes, Nexer, the same company Derek proudly represented, the same company Amanda considered too prestigious for her supposedly struggling sister to comprehend. We bootstrapped for 8 months, surviving on ramen and belief, before securing angel funding, then seed, then Series A, B, C. Growth from 3 founders to 800 employees, from a single product to a full enterprise suite adopted by 60% of the Fortune 100, from hoping to make rent to declining acquisition offers from Microsoft and Salesforce. I had never formally announced this to my family, not because I concealed it, but because they never listened. Conversations shifted, advice flowed unsolicited, assumptions calcified. My father vaguely believed I worked with computers. My mother told her friends I was exploring options. Amanda had categorized me as unsuccessful, and data rarely disrupts conviction. So I adapted. I blended. Sunday was devoted to preparation. The board agenda was dense. IPO timeline discussions with Goldman Sachs, structuring our European market entry, potential acquisition of 2 competitors. I reviewed financial projections, adjusted strategy slides, coordinated with my CFO. 847 employees depended on decisions made in that room. Contracts with most of the Fortune 100 were at stake. My executive assistant confirmed attendance for all board members and the 6 recently appointed executives. Derek Chin, VP of Product Development, 3 months into his tenure. Strong resume from IBM. Hired through my COO after final interviews. I asked a few pointed questions, observed his responses, and trusted my team's assessment. He had not asked my name during the process. He had not connected me to Amanda. Why would he? Monday arrived wrapped in San Francisco fog. I dressed in my standard board attire, tailored black suit, white silk blouse, understated jewelry. My driver collected me at 7:30, allowing time to review notes during the 30-minute ride to our SOMA headquarters. 14 floors of glass and steel with Nexer AI emblazoned across the top in 6-foot letters. We'd moved here 2 years ago after outgrowing our previous space. I took the private elevator to the executive floor. Jennifer greeted me. Morning, Maya. Coffee's ready. Full attendance confirmed. All 6 new executives as well. Derek asked if he should prepare additional materials. I told him to review the product roadmap slides. Perfect, thank you. My office overlooked the Bay Bridge, walls lined with MIT degrees, my Stanford MBA, industry awards, a framed Forbes cover from 2 years ago, and photos chronicling our growth from garage to enterprise entity. At 8:50, I entered the boardroom. Venture partners, CFO, CTO, general counsel, independent directors were already seated. The new executives clustered at one end, composed but visibly tense. Derek stood among them in a navy suit, speaking quietly with the VP of sales. Confident exterior, slight rigidity in his shoulders. I took my seat at the head of the table. Jennifer dimmed the lights slightly and pulled up the presentation on the large screen. Good morning, everyone, I said. Let's get started. I watched Derek's face as I spoke, watched the exact moment he realized who I was. His eyes went wide, his mouth opened slightly. The color drained from his face. Our CTO Marcus leaned over and whispered something to him. I couldn't hear it, but I could imagine that's our CEO Ma Chin. Derek's hands gripped the armrests of his chair. He looked like he might be sick. I continued with the meeting agenda, professional and focused. We're here to discuss 3 major items: the IPO timeline, European expansion, and potential acquisitions. Let's start with the financials. Our CFO, Patricia, walked through the numbers. Revenue was up 340% year over year. We were profitable in 3 of our 4 divisions. Our cash reserves were strong. Goldman Sachs was projecting an IPO valuation between $2.1 billion and $2.4 billion. We have a decision to make, Patricia said. Go public in Q2, which is aggressive but captures market momentum, or wait until Q4, which gives us time to strengthen our enterprise division numbers. The board members discussed the options. I listened, asked questions, pushed back on assumptions. This was the work I loved, the strategic thinking, the calculated risk-taking, the building of something that mattered. Derek hadn't said a word. He sat frozen, staring at me like I was a ghost. We moved to the European expansion proposal. Our VP of International Sales presented the plan. Offices in London, Berlin, and Paris, with a target of 200 European clients within 18 months. The investment is significant, I said, studying the numbers. €47 million over 2 years, Marcus. Is our technology ready for EU data compliance requirements? We've been working on GDPR compliance for 6 months, our CTO replied. We're ready then. I'm in favor. Board. 6 hands went up. The motion carried. Finally, we discussed acquisitions. 2 smaller AI companies were struggling, both with technology that complemented ours. We could acquire them for a combined $140 million, our general counsel said, or we could wait for them to fail and hire their engineers for significantly less. What's the ethical play? I asked. The room went quiet. This was something I'd learned from my mentor at Google. Profit mattered, but so did how you made it. The ethical play is to acquire them, Patricia said slowly. Keep their teams intact, preserve their technology, honor their vision, even if it costs more. Then that's what we do. Draft ye offers, be generous with the founders. They built something valuable, even if the market didn't cooperate. The meeting continued for another hour. We discussed product roadmaps, competitive threats, talent acquisition. Derek's team presented updates on the new AI model they'd been developing. It was solid work, I noted. He might be personally disastrous, but he wasn't incompetent. As the meeting ended, people gathered their materials and headed out. The new executives clustered together, clearly overwhelmed by their first board meeting. Derek approached me slowly, like he was walking toward a firing squad. Miss Chin, he said, his voice barely steady. I didn't realize that you were the CEO. I kept my voice neutral. Most people don't, unless they read tech news. You've been doing good work, Derek. The new model launch is ahead of schedule. Thank you. He swallowed hard. I met your sister, Amanda. I know she's mentioned you. She never said, she told me you were between jobs, figuring things out. I smiled slightly. Amanda has her own narrative. I don't correct her. But you founded this company. You built all of this. With a lot of help. We're a team here. He looked like he wanted to say more, but Marcus called him over to discuss the product roadmap. Derek glanced back at me once, then walked away, his shoulders slumped. I returned to my office and pulled out my phone. 15 missed calls from a number I recognized, Amanda's cell. There were also 12 text messages. Call me now. Maya, what the hell? Derek said you're the CEO of Nexra. Why didn't you tell me? Em and Dad are going to freak out. This is so embarrassing. You made me look like an idiot. How could you let me talk about Derek's job when you own the company? Everyone at dinner is going to think I'm insane. Answer your phone. I can't believe you did this to me. Call me immediately. I set the phone down and looked out at the city. Somewhere out there, Amanda was having a meltdown. Derek was probably reconsidering his engagement. My parents would hear about this soon if they hadn't already, and I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no anger, just a quiet, distant sadness. Jennifer knocked. "Your 11 a.m. is here, the Goldman Sachs team." "Thanks, I'll be right there." I stood up, straightened my jacket, and prepared for the next meeting. There was work to do, an IPO to plan, a company to build, hundreds of employees counting on us to make the right decisions. My phone buzzed again, Amanda calling for the 16th time. I turned it off and went to meet with Goldman Sachs. The rest of Monday was a blur of meetings. Goldman's team was eager, almost pushy about accelerating our IPO timeline. They saw a window in the market. Tech stocks were hot. AI was the next big thing, and our numbers were exceptional. "Q2 is aggressive but achievable," their lead banker said. "Your story is compelling. Female founder, MIT background, built this from nothing. Investors will eat it up." "I don't want to sell a story," I replied. "I want to sell a sustainable business." It's the same thing in the market's eyes. We debated valuations, timing, risk factors. By the time they left at 4 p.m., I had a headache forming behind my eyes. Jennifer appeared in my doorway. "You have 17 calls from your sister, and your mother called the main line 3 times. She said, and I quote, 'Tell Maya that family is more important than some meeting.'" I rubbed my temples. "What did you tell her?" "That you were in meetings with Goldman Sachs regarding our IPO and would call her when available." "And her response?" "She asked what an IPO was." I explained. Then she got quiet and hung up. I almost smiled. "Thanks, Jennifer. Also, Derek Chin requested a meeting with you. He seemed distressed." "Tomorrow. Put him down for 2 p.m. That evening, I drove to my apartment in Pacific Heights, a 2-bedroom place I'd bought 3 years ago, when the company's Series C had closed. It was nice, but not ostentatious, the kind of place a successful professional might own, not a CEO about to take a company public. I poured a glass of wine and finally turned on my phone. 43 missed calls, 37 text messages, 6 voicemails. I started with the voicemails. The first was Amanda, her voice high and strained. "Maya, what the actual hell? Derek came home and said you're the CEO of his company. How is that even possible? Call me back right now." The second was my mother. "Maya, Amanda just told us you run some computer company. Is this true? Why wouldn't you tell us? Your father wants to know if this is some kind of joke." The third was Amanda again, crying. "You let me introduce you as between jobs. You let Derek talk about his important job. Everyone thinks I'm a complete idiot. How could you do this to me?" The fourth was my father. "Maya, my mother and I are very confused. Amanda says you're quite successful, but we don't understand why you've been lying to us. Please call us and explain what's going on." The fifth was Derek again, his voice carefully controlled. "Miss Chen, this is Derek. I wanted to apologize for anything inappropriate I may have said at dinner Friday. I had no idea about your relationship to Amanda or your position at the company. I hope this won't affect my employment. Please call me." The sixth was Amanda again, angry now. "You know what? This is typical. Everything always has to be about you. You couldn't just let me have this one thing. You had to be the CEO of Derek's company. You're so selfish, Maya. Don't bother calling me back." I deleted all 6 and scrolled through the texts. They followed the same pattern: shock, embarrassment, anger, confusion. My mother: "Why didn't you tell us you were successful? We're your parents."
My father: "I don't understand why you would hide this. We thought you were struggling." Amanda: "Everyone from dinner knows now. Derek's boss called him. They're all talking about it. This is the most humiliating thing that's ever happened to me." And then, buried among the angry messages, one from Amanda sent at 9:47 p.m. "Derek's boss wants to meet me. He said he didn't know the Sue was my sister. He called me Chin like I'm important because of you. This is so backwards. I'm supposed to be the successful one." There was the heart of it. I was supposed to be the failure. That was the role I'd been assigned in our family's story. Amanda was the successful older sister with the prestigious job and the impressive boyfriend. I was the little sister who couldn't get her life together. Except none of it was true, and now the story had collapsed and everyone was scrambling to write a new one. I didn't call anyone back, not that night. Instead, I opened my laptop and reviewed the deck for tomorrow's executive team meeting. We had deadlines to hit, features to ship, clients to serve. The drama of my personal life was exactly that, personal. It had no place in the boardroom. Tuesday morning, I arrived at the office at 7 a.m. The executive team meeting was at 8:30, followed by Derek's one-on-one at 2 p.m. The executive meeting went smoothly. We discussed hiring targets, budget allocations, and the upcoming all-hands where we'd announce the IPO timeline. Derek was professional, participated appropriately, and avoided making eye contact with me. Afterward, Marcus pulled me aside. "Derek's freaking out. He thinks you're going to fire him." "Why would I fire him? His numbers are good." "Because he's dating your sister and apparently said some dumb things at a dinner party. That's not a fireable offense. You should probably tell him that before he has a breakdown in the bathroom, 3rd time this morning." I sighed. "I'll talk to him at 2. Derek arrived for his one-on-one exactly on time, looking like he hadn't slept. He sat across from my desk, hands clasped tightly in his lap. "Thank you for seeing me, Miss Chin. Maya is fine when it's just us. And you're not fired if that's what you're worried about." His shoulders sagged with relief. "I thank you. I was concerned that the situation with Amanda might—" "Your relationship with my sister is your business. Your performance here is what I care about, and your performance has been excellent. The new AI model is ahead of schedule and under budget. You're doing exactly what we hired you to do." "I appreciate that, but I feel I should apologize for Friday night. The things I said about startups, about competition, you didn't know who I was. And honestly, you weren't wrong. Most startups do fail. We just happened not to." He relaxed slightly. "Amanda is very upset. She feels embarrassed. I understand. She wants to know why you never told her or your parents." He paused. "If I'm being honest, I'd like to know too. This is a billion-dollar company. You're about to go public. How does your family not know?" I considered how much to share. Derek was my employee, but he was also dating my sister. Whatever I said would likely get back to her. "They never asked," I said finally. "I tried to tell them in the beginning, but my father would change the subject. My mother would offer career advice. Amanda decided I was a failure, and nothing I said could change her mind. After a while, I stopped trying. But surely when the company got bigger—" "Derek, what does Amanda tell you about me?" He shifted uncomfortably. "That you're figuring things out, that you had some career struggles, that she worries about you. And in 3 months of dating her, did you ever ask my name?" You went pale, though I didn't. "Did you ask what company I worked for, what I studied in school, anything specific about my life?" "She said you didn't like to talk about it. She said that because she doesn't want to hear the answer, because if she knew the truth, she'd have to rewrite the story she's been telling herself for 10 years, and that story is important to her." Derek was quiet for a long moment. "She called me this morning. She's angry that I brought you into her workplace. She doesn't understand why I didn't tell her you were my Sue." "What did you say?" "That I didn't know, that you were just Maya to me, another person in the building." He rubbed his face. "She accused me of choosing you over her." "And what did you say to that?" "That she was being irrational, that you're my boss and I'm grateful to have this job, that her feelings about you don't change my professional obligations." You met my eyes. She didn't like that answer. "I imagine not. She wants me to quit." The words hung in the air between us. "And are you going to?" I asked. "No," he said firmly. "This is the best opportunity of my career. I left IBM specifically for this role." And he hesitated. "I'm starting to see some things about Amanda that concern me." I said nothing, just waited. "She's very focused on status, on appearances, on being better than other people." He shook his head. "I thought it was just ambition, but after this weekend, I don't know. The way she talks about you, the way she's more upset about being embarrassed than about having completely misunderstood her sister's life. It's not what you signed up for." "Yeah, I stood and walked to the window. 14 floors below, people moved through their lives, walking to meetings, grabbing coffee, checking their phones. Ordinary people doing ordinary things. My advice, as your don't make career decisions based on personal relationships. This job is good for you. Stay. And your advice as Amanda's sister? I'm probably not the right person to ask. I turned back to him. But for what it's worth, my sister is terrified of being ordinary. She spent her whole life trying to prove she's special, important, better than everyone else. That's why she needs you to be impressive. That's why she needs me to be a failure. It's all part of the story that makes her the hero. Derek nodded slowly. What happens now? You keep doing your job, I keep doing mine. Amanda decides whether she can handle the cognitive dissonance of having a successful little sister. I return to my desk. Is there anything else work-related we need to discuss? No, thank you, Maya. After he left, I finally called my mother. She answered on the first ring. Maya? Hi, Mom. You have some explaining to do, young lady. I almost laughed at being called young lady when I was 30 years old and about to take a company public. What would you like to know? For starters, why your father and I had to learn from Amanda that you're apparently some kind of executive running a billion-dollar company. I'm the CEO and founder. We're valued at approximately $2.2 billion pending our IPO. Silence. Then, your father wants to talk to you. Hold on. Muffled sounds of the phone being passed. Maya, this is your father. Hi, Dad. Your mother and I are very confused. We thought you were working on a small startup, some kind of computer project. It was a small startup 7 years ago. We grew. Why didn't you tell me? I tried. You asked me once what I did, and I said I founded an AI company. You said, that's nice, and asked if I'd seen your golf clubs. I don't remember that. I do.
It was at Christmas 4 years ago. I tried to explain that we just closed a $50 million funding round. You interrupted to tell me about Amanda's promotion at work. Another silence. Maya, were your parents? We should have known. Should you have? When was the last time you asked me a specific question about my work, my life, anything beyond how are you? We ask about you all the time. You ask Amanda about me. You ask if I've gotten my life together. You ask when I'll find a real job. But you've never actually asked me what I do. I heard my mother's voice in the background. Let me talk to her. The phone exchanged hands again. Maya, we're trying to understand. Why would you hide something like this? I didn't hide it, Mom. I just stopped trying to force you to see it. You decided who I was 10 years ago, and nothing I said would change your mind. That's not fair, is it? When was the last time you introduced me to someone without apologizing for me first, without saying, I'm still figuring things out, or going through a phase? We were trying to be supportive. Were you, or were you trying to maintain the story where Amanda is the successful one and I'm the struggling one? Has that story made sense to you? It was comfortable. My mother's voice went cold. You're being very cruel right now. I'm being honest. There's a difference. Amanda is devastated. She says you humiliated her in front of Derek's colleagues. I sat at a dinner and listened to Derek talk about his job at a company I founded, while Amanda introduced me as between jobs. How exactly did I humiliate her? You should have told her who you were. She never asked. In 30 years, Mom, she has never once asked me a single genuine question about my life. She decided I was a failure, and she needed me to stay that way so she could feel superior. That's a horrible thing to say about your sister. It's the truth, and you enabled it. Both of you did. You praised her for getting a middle management job at a regional bank, while I was raising $100 million in venture capital. You bragged about her $80,000 salary, while I was turning down acquisition offers for $400 million. You believed her story because it was easier than seeing me. I heard my father's voice again, muffled. What's she saying? She's saying we failed her, my mother said, and her voice cracked. that we didn't see who she really was. Because you didn't want to, I said softly. It was easier to have one successful daughter and one struggling daughter. It was a simpler story. Why? My mother was crying now. We didn't mean, we thought. I know, but intention doesn't erase impact. What do we do now? I don't know, Mom. That's up to you. I ended the call and sat in the silence of my office. Through the glass walls, I could see my team working. Engineers debugging code, product managers in intense discussions, salespeople on calls with clients. These people knew who I was. They saw me clearly. My family never had. Jennifer knocked. Your 3 p.m. is here. The TechCrunch interview about the IPO announcement? Give me 5 minutes. I pulled up my email and found a draft I'd been working on for weeks. A message to our entire company about the IPO, about what we'd built together, about the journey ahead. I added a new paragraph. Many of you know that I'm a private person. I don't do much press. I don't share details of my life outside these walls. That's because this company is built on substance, not stories, on results, not reputation, on the work we do together, not on who we are individually. But I want you to know this. Every single person in this company matters, not because of your title or your salary or how impressive you sound at a dinner party, but because of the work you do, the problems you solve, the value you create. Never let anyone make you feel small for choosing substance over story. I sent it to all 847 employees. Then I straightened my jacket, checked my reflection in the window, and went to talk to TechCrunch about taking a $2.2 billion company public. The interview lasted an hour. The reporter was sharp, asking about our competitive advantages, our path to profitability, our vision for the future of enterprise AI. She asked if it was hard being a female CEO in a male-dominated industry. It's hard being any CEO, I said. The gender part is just one more variable to manage. Do you have advice for women in tech who face skepticism or dismissal? I thought about Amanda, about my parents, about every dinner party where I'd been introduced as the disappointment. Keep building, I said. Let your work speak louder than anyone's doubts, and remember that their inability to see you is their limitation, not yours. The article went live Wednesday morning. By noon, it had 50,000 shares. My phone, which I kept off since Tuesday, showed 127 missed calls when I finally turned it on Wednesday evening. Most were from numbers I didn't recognize, journalists probably, or recruiters, or people who'd suddenly discovered we were connected on LinkedIn. But 15 were from Amanda. I listened to the most recent voicemail. Her voice was different now, smaller. Maya, I read the TechCrunch article. I saw the photos of you in the office. I didn't know. I mean, I knew you were smart, but I didn't understand. A long pause. Derek broke up with me. He said, I don't actually see people. I just see status symbols. He said I treated you like a status symbol too. A negative one, but still. She laughed, but it sounded broken. I don't know what to do with that, with any of this. Another pause. Mom and Dad are freaking out. They keep asking how they didn't know, and I realized I didn't either. But as I never asked, I never wanted to know. Her voice dropped to a whisper. I'm sorry, Maya. I don't know if that means anything to you, but I'm sorry. I saved the voicemail, but didn't call her back. Not yet. Thursday, we held the all-hands meeting to announce the IPO. 847 employees packed into our largest conference room and the overflow spaces. I stood on the small stage and told them what we'd built together. 7 years ago, we were 3 people in a garage. Today, we're going public, but the number doesn't matter. Not the valuation, not the stock price, not any of it. What matters is that we built something real, something that solves actual problems for actual people, and we did it together. The applause was deafening. Afterward, Derek approached me. That was a good speech. Thanks. How are you doing? Better. I talked to my therapist about the Amanda situation. Apparently, I have some patterns to work on. He smiled wryly, but I'm grateful for this job, for the clarity it's given me about what matters. I'm glad you're staying. Me too. Friday afternoon, I finally called Amanda. "Ha," she said, and I could hear she'd been crying. "I got your voicemail. All 15 of them. Just the last one." Silence. Then, "I've been thinking a lot this week about what kind of sister I've been, what kind of person." Her voice wavered. "Derek was right. I don't see people. I see status categories. Status, where people fit in the hierarchy I've built in my head. I know, you were supposed to be the struggling one, the one who made me look good by comparison. And when that turned out to be completely false, I didn't know how to handle it." "Amanda, let me finish, please." She took a shaky breath. "I've spent this whole week being angry at you for embarrassing me, for not telling me, for letting me look like an idiot. But the truth is, I'm the one who made myself look like an idiot by never caring enough to actually know you." I walked to my office window, looking out at the city lights. "I read every article about you I could find," Amanda continued. "Forbes, TechCrunch, the Wall Street Journal profile from last year, and I kept thinking, this is my sister, my little sister, and I don't know her at all." "No," I said quietly. "You don't. Can I—" Her voice was so small. "Can I get to know you, the real you?" "I don't know, Amanda. Can you handle it if the real me doesn't fit into your hierarchy? If I don't make you look good by comparison?" "That's fair. That's more than fair." She laughed sadly. "God, I'm such a mess. Derek's gone, Mom and Dad are having some kind of crisis about their parenting, and I'm realizing that I built my entire identity around being better than you. And now that's gone, and I don't know who I am. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe. The truth is, I'm proud of you. I should have said that first." "I'm proud of you and impressed and kind of in awe. You built something incredible, and you did it while we all dismissed you. That takes—I can't even imagine how strong you had to be." Tears stung my eyes. "Thank you. Will you have coffee with me sometime when you're not busy taking over the world? I'd like that." "Really? Really? But Amanda, if we do this, if we try to build an actual relationship, it has to be real. No performances, no status games, just two sisters trying to actually know each other." "I can try. I want to try." "Then let's try." We set a date for the following Tuesday. After I hung up, I sat in the growing darkness of my office and let myself cry. For the years of being invisible, for the sister I'd never really had, for the possibility that maybe, finally, we could start again. Monday morning, the IPO paperwork was filed. By Wednesday, we'd set a date, June 15th. By Friday, Goldman Sachs was projecting we'd open at $2.4 billion. None of it felt as important as the coffee I had with Amanda on Tuesday. We met at a small place in North Beach, far from both our offices. She was already there when I arrived, looking nervous and tired, and more real than I'd ever seen her. "Hi," she said. "Hi." We ordered coffee. For a moment, we just sat there, two strangers who happened to share DNA and a childhood. "I don't know where to start," Amanda said, finally. "Tell me about your job, your actual job, not the impressive-sounding version. What do you do every day?" He blinked, surprised. "I manage a team of 5 people in commercial lending. We process loan applications for small businesses. Honestly, it's kind of boring, but I'm good at it." "That sounds valuable. Small businesses need financing." "It is valuable, but it's not. I'm not a VP. I'm not changing the world. I'm just doing a job." "Most people are just doing a job. There's no shame in that." "I know, but I spent so long pretending it was more than it was, pretending I was more than I was." She met my eyes. "Because I was scared that if I wasn't more, I was nothing." "You're not nothing, Amanda. You never were. Then why did I need you to be less? Why did I need you to fail?" "Because you learned that love is conditional, that our parents' approval depends on achievement, that you have to earn your place in the family hierarchy." I stirred my coffee. We both learned that. I just responded differently. How? How did you keep building when everyone around you said you'd fail? I found people who saw me. My co-founders, our early investors, the team we build. They saw me clearly, so it mattered less that you didn't. Amanda's eyes filled with tears. I want to see you clearly. I want to be someone who sees people clearly. Then start by seeing yourself clearly, not the version you think you should be, the actual person you are. We talked for 2 hours about her real job and my real job, about her breakup with Derek and what she'd learned from it, about our parents and the ways they'd failed us both, about the possibility of something different. As we were leaving, Amanda hugged me, really hugged me, not the air kiss performance from before. "Thank you," she whispered, "for giving me a chance. Thank you for asking for one." June 15th arrived warm and clear. I stood on the floor of the NASDAQ exchange with my co-founders, Marcus and Jennifer, watching our stock price climb. We opened at $54 per share, valuing the company at $2.6 billion. My parents were there, looking proud and confused, and desperately trying to understand the daughter they'd never really known. Amanda was there too, standing off to the side, clapping when the bell rang, taking photos for her Instagram with the caption, "My sister is a badass." No qualifications, no explanations, just truth. After the ceremony, as we celebrated with champagne and congratulations, Amanda pulled me aside. "I know this is your day, your moment, but I wanted to tell you I started therapy to work on the status thing, the comparison thing, all of it. I'm proud of you for that, and I'm proud of you for this," she gestured at the celebration around us, "for all of this, for building something real while I was busy building something fake. Your life isn't fake, Amanda, it's just been hiding behind a story. Well, I'm done with that story. I want a real one." She smiled, and it was genuine, starting with having a sister who actually knows me and who I actually know. I'd like that. We stood together and watched the stock ticker, two sisters finally seeing each other clearly. The company continued to grow. We expanded into Europe, acquired those 2 startups, launched 3 new products. By the end of the year, we employed over 1,000 people. But the thing I was most proud of wasn't the stock price or the revenue or the awards. It was the coffee dates with Amanda every Tuesday, the phone calls with my parents where they asked real questions and listened to real answers, the slow, difficult work of building actual relationships instead of performed ones. Derek stayed at the company and ended up being one of our best executives. He started dating someone from our legal team, someone who saw him clearly and liked what she saw. Me. I kept building, kept leading, kept choosing substance over story, because at the end of the day, that's all any of us can do. Build something real, see people clearly, let ourselves be seen. The rest is just noise.